Before we dive into this legendary and long-hidden archive from the gritty streets of Hong Kong, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. You are part of a growing community that uncovers the raw, untold truths of martial arts history, and you won't want to miss the rare footage and stories we have lined up for you. This channel is dedicated to the legends who bled behind the scenes. Now, let's go back to 1982, the night a world-class boxer learned that Jackie Chan was anything but just an actor. The year was 1982. Hong Kong was a city of neon lights, narrow alleys, and a fighting culture that breathed through the very cracks of the pavement. At midnight, the city didn't sleep. It shifted into an underground world of ego and iron. Jackie Chan was already a superstar in Asia, but to the Western world of professional combat sports, he was still seen as a circus performer. To a man named Big Miller, a terrifying heavyweight boxer from the United Kingdom, with a record of 15-0, all by knockout, Jackie was the ultimate target. Miller was a mountain of a man, with fists the size of cinder blocks and a reach that felt like it spanned the entire ring. He hadn't just come to Hong Kong for an exhibition. He had come to colonize the local martial arts scene with his Western power. In the smoky, crowded backrooms of the Kowloon fight clubs, Miller began to talk. He laughed at Jackie's films, calling the drunken master style a joke. "I'd put that little clown in a coma in under a minute," Miller boasted to the local press, his voice dripping with condescension. "He moves like a dancer because he's afraid of a real punch. He's all wires and camera tricks. Give me 3 rounds, and I'll show the world that Kung Fu is nothing but a choreographed lie for tourists." Word reached Jackie while he was on the set of Project A. He was exhausted, having spent 14 hours filming a sequence where he fell from a clock tower. At first, Jackie did what he always does. He smiled, shook his head, and went back to work. But Miller didn't stop. He crossed a line that no martial artist overlooks. He showed up at the Golden Harvest studio gates, shouting insults, calling Jackie a coward in front of his entire stunt team, his brothers. Jackie's team, the men who bled with him every day, were ready for a riot. Finally, Jackie set down his water bottle, took off his director's cap, and walked toward the gate. He didn't look like a hero. He looked tired, dusty, and small compared to the 6'4", 230-pound mountain of muscle that was Miller. "You want to see if it's a lie?" Jackie asked, his voice low and calm, but carrying a vibration that made the air feel heavy. Tonight, midnight, the rooftop of the old textile factory in Shang Shui Po. No cameras, no referees, no fans. Just you and the clown. The rooftop was a desolate place, smelling of salt air, industrial grease, and the looming rain of the South China Sea. A circle was drawn in white chalk on the cracked concrete. About 20 people stood in the shadows. Jackie's core stunt team, looking like silent guardians, and Miller's trainers, who were already celebrating their easy victory. There were no gloves. Jackie wrapped his hands in simple cotton, while Miller kept his fists bare, confident in his hammers of stone. Round 1 was a psychological nightmare for the boxer. Miller came out in a classic heavyweight stance, chin tucked, guard high, looking to end the fight with a single, devastating left hook. He lunged forward, throwing a jab that sounded like a whip cracking in the night air. But Jackie wasn't there. He didn't retreat, he flowed. He used a low, sweeping movement from the monkey style he had mastered in the Opera Research Institute. He dropped so low that Miller's punch hit nothing but air. Before Miller could reset his feet, Jackie delivered a stinging palm strike to the boxer's floating ribs. It wasn't a knockout blow, but the pop of the impact echoed across the roof. Miller grunted, his eyes wide with a sudden, flickering doubt. Miller grew frustrated, his face turning a deep shade of crimson. He threw a furious combination left, right, left. Each punch aimed to decapitate the smaller man. Jackie used the sticky hands, Shi Sao, of Wing Chun, parrying the punches with his forearms, letting the boxer's power slide past him like water off a duck's back. Jackie was moving in a rhythm Miller couldn't understand. It wasn't boxing. It was a chaotic, beautiful dance of survival. Every time Miller thought he had Jackie cornered against the rusted rooftop ledge, Jackie would perform a spectacular wall run or a tumble over a ventilation duct, emerging behind the boxer and landing a flurry of lightning-fast strikes to Miller's kidneys and thighs. By round 2, the Iron Man was beginning to rust. Miller was breathing heavy, his face flushed with rage and the oxygen-deprived exhaustion of a man punching at ghosts. He realized he couldn't hit Jackie, so he decided to grapple. He lunged forward, looking to use his 80-pound weight advantage to crush Jackie against the floor. As Miller collided with him, Jackie didn't resist the force. He used the drunken principle of yielding. He collapsed his body, grabbed Miller's momentum by the collar, and performed a perfect overhead sacrifice throw tamonage. The 230-pound boxer went sailing through the air, crashing into a stack of wooden crates meant for the next day's set. The crates shattered. Miller stood up, spitting blood and splinters. He was no longer a professional boxer. He was a wounded, humiliated animal. He charged one last time, swinging a desperate, wide haymaker, a punch that carried enough power to kill a bull. Jackie didn't move away this time. He stepped into the void of the punch, the most dangerous place to be. He caught Miller's arm at the elbow joint and delivered a devastating counter-elbow to the boxer's bicep, deadening the nerve instantly. As Miller's arm went limp, Jackie followed up with a spectacular triple kick. One to the lead shin to break his base, one to the hip to tilt his center, and a final thunderous roundhouse to the side of Miller's temple. The sound was like a bat hitting a leather bag. Miller hit the deck, hard. The Iron Man was out before his head touched the concrete. The rooftop went silent. The only sound was the distant hum of the city and the heavy breathing of the spectators. Jackie stood over him, his chest barely heaving, his face as calm as a monk in meditation. He didn't celebrate. He didn't boast. He didn't even look at the shadows where his team stood. He simply walked over to Miller's stunned trainers and handed them a small, ceramic bottle of traditional Chinese liniment from his pocket. "Apply this to his ribs and his neck," Jackie said softly, his English broken but his intent clear. "He is a strong fighter. He has a lot of power, but he forgot that a wall is only strong until the wind decides to blow around it. Power is nothing without the wisdom to direct it." The next morning, Miller was gone. He left Hong Kong on the first flight out of Kai Tak Airport, his jaw bruised and his ego shattered into a million pieces. He never spoke of the fight again. In the official boxing records, he eventually retired due to a persistent training injury. But in the underground gyms of Mung Kok and Sin Sho Sui, the story of the Midnight Rooftop became a cautionary tale for anyone who dared to underestimate the man with the smile. Jackie Chan went back to the film set that morning at 6 a.m., exactly as scheduled. He performed a 40-foot fall into a pile of cardboard boxes, got up, brushed the dust off his pants, and then spent an hour buying lunch for his entire crew with his own money. To the world, he was still the funny guy who did stunts for entertainment. But to the few who stood on that roof, he was the deadliest man in the city. He had proven that Kung Fu wasn't a lie. It was a truth that only the disciplined could speak. The broken crates were cleaned up. The chalk circle was eventually washed away by the monsoon rain. But the lesson remained etched in the minds of those who saw it. You don't challenge a dragon in its own sky, and you never, ever call a man a clown until you've seen him fight when the cameras are turned off. This encounter changed Jackie too. It solidified his belief that his style, the unpredictable and adaptive nature of his movement, wasn't just for the screen. It was a philosophy of life. Jackie Chan's legacy isn't just about the laughs and the spectacular jumps. It's about a hidden, iron-hard discipline that he only reveals when the world leaves him no other choice. He is the master of the soft power, the warrior who chooses peace, but is always ready for war. He showed us that being a hero isn't about how hard you can hit, but about how you can handle a storm without letting it break you. And that, more than any movie, is the true mark of a legend. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the secret, gritty history of Jackie Chan, don't forget to like this video and comment below. Who would you like to see Jackie face next in our Hidden Archive series? Should we explore his secret training with the monks? Or perhaps his encounter with a sumo legend? Let us know in the comments. Stay tuned, stay disciplined, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Martial Archive.